I feel like the Parent-Child Center's mission is to help prevent subsequent pregnancies for young moms, to help get them some birth control and think about, I want a family, but right now I'm going to work on this child and work on me and better my life so that I can have another child in the future and make that easier. I feel like education is something that we work with families around. Counseling, helping people connect with somebody and have somebody to talk to, and a lot of our clients have, unfortunately, some mental illness stuff going on, whether it's just anxiety and depression, which I say just, but for some families that's not really debilitating, but for other families that's huge for them. I'm thinking about the grant that I often have to write, subsequent pregnancy, birth control, helping families get doctors, connect with good child cares, housing, all of those things. So my official job title is the Learning Together Program Coordinator. I've come to quickly learn what that really means is I'm professional like triage. So when something's happening, I'm the one that people go to and ask for support, and my job is to make sure that childcare is covered as best as it can be, and connect with people who want to come volunteer to make sure that there's a time and a space for that to happen. And my other job is to spend a lot of time with our parents here in our program and help make sure that not only are they following their schedule and doing what they're supposed to be doing, but also help navigate relationships between participants and their supervisors. The only time I realize it's difficult is when I go home and my own children need something and I'm sort of like, oh, I can't do one more thing. But while I'm here between 8 and 4, I don't feel it at all. I feel like the time goes by really fast. I feel like it's a wonderful environment to work with as far as my peers, my staff. We're all friends, we're family, and we get vacations often enough that I think it holds a lot of people here because we get, I wouldn't say burned out, but we definitely get full, and then we get some time off to rejuvenate. I actually, when I was 5, when my mom was one of the first original Parent-Child Center clients, and she came to the center when it was on a different street in Middlebury, and she was one of the Learning Together participants, and she worked in childcare. And then when I was 16, I became pregnant, and I was at the Middlebury High School, and one of the outreach workers here named Michael Fisher used to hold an Alternatives for Teens program, and it was a time that they would meet in one of the 40-minute blocks, and you could talk about things that were going on, relationships, sex, drugs. It was just a great place to have an adult listen to us and really think about things with us. So fortunately, I was connected with him when I found out I was pregnant, and he helped me come here and do a pregnancy test and help talk to my daughter's dad and his family and try and figure out, well, what are we going to do about this? Ashley, my daughter's name is Ashley, and her dad was quick to say, let's get an abortion, we're not doing this. And I lived through a really crazy, yucky childhood where there was a lot of abuse, and for the first time in my life I felt like I had a focus. I had something that was going to love me unconditionally, and I wanted to be different for that person. Just before I became pregnant, I was just coming into the drug scene and drinking a lot of alcohol. So when I found out I was pregnant, that obviously stopped all of that from happening, and it got me to think about, oh, I do want to finish my high school degree. I don't want to be my mom. My mom was on welfare, that's what Reach Up was called at the time, and she was a stay-at-home, and she and my stepdad used to abuse us, and so I wanted all of those things to be different for myself and my unborn child. So then Ashley was born, and she when she was 3 weeks old, became one of the children in childcare, and I went back to high school because at that time there was no education program here at the Parent-Child Center. I was then fortunate to have Ashley stay in childcare all 3 years, until she was 3, and I graduated on time with my high school class. And the beauty of that was I was allowed to come over and earn community service credit through my high school for coming over here 1 period a day. So I got to check in and be with Ashley for 40 minutes during the day and get high school credit for that. And it helped form a relationship with her caregiver that made a huge difference in my life. She was the first person that ever listened to me, listened to problems I had, my concerns, answered questions. I just felt like we were really connected, and she was the first person that would say something like, are you going to finish high school? Are you going to go to college? I didn't know what college was. I didn't know what SATs were. I didn't know that was even an opportunity. And then I was lucky enough, there was something called the Summer Youth Employment Program. So when I was still between my junior and senior year, Ashley was born in my junior year, I was able to work here for that summer and get employed in the state. There was a program where they paid me, but I was able to be in the room with my daughter and work. And I learned so many incredible working skills by being in that room all summer. And then I left here just before Ashley was 3 and went to cosmetology school. I had first gotten accepted to Champlain for accounting, but I was too scared to go. So then I finished cosmetology school, and Ashley had moved on to a different childcare, but I still felt this incredible relationship with Ashley's old teacher, and so I stopped by one day to say hi. And at the time, Ashley was 4. And actually, before I did that, when I was a participant, they sometimes hired me to be a sub on Monday afternoons for childcare. Or if somebody was missing, they would call me, even when I was still a participant. So when I went away to school, I hadn't seen Sue in a long time, so I stopped by to say hi. And she said, what are you doing tomorrow? And at that time, I had finished my cosmetology program and had worked at a salon, but decided I really didn't like the work environment that was there. My boss was very unprofessional, and I didn't like the way she treated people, and I realized that she was probably treating me the same way when I wasn't around. And so I was looking for a different place to work, and I had stopped by to say hi to Sue for just a minute, and she said, what are you doing tomorrow? And that was in September of '96, and here I am. Wow. So I started off as a substitute caregiver, and I think I was here almost every single day from September to January, and then somebody was here as a caregiver and a van driver, and they left. So I moved into that slot, and I did that for 3 years, and then became a full-time head teacher, but continued to drive the van. And so I ended up doing childcare for 14 years, and then I'm now in this position that I've been in for 3.5 years. And I feel like I learned an incredible amount of information the whole time I was a young mom and the whole time I was a participant here. And I feel like it even shaped my life since then, since I've started working here. I've gained so many advocacy skills and learned so much knowledge from so many other staff people that I feel like that's what makes me, that has helped shape me into who I am. And then I can give that back to the participants that I'm with here, because I feel like I know kind of what the participants are going through, because I've walked in some of my own shoes in that. But I think I wouldn't have the same advocacy skills and the same relationships with people if I hadn't worked here and gained those skills. Well, I can tell you yes, because in my family, I'm the first person that ever graduated high school, ever. And I am the first person who ever went to college. Granted, it took me 12 years to get my bachelor's degree, but I did it. But my daughter, who's now going to be 22, went to Clarkson University and is graduating this year. And I know that happens for other families, and I think what families need to know is that there are opportunities, and I think they also need to know something that one of the old co-directors said to me when I was here in the program. We had a women's group called Changing Patterns. And I'll admit I've not always been the kindest person or the most professional person, and definitely when I was a teenager, and I remember going, changing patterns, that's stupid. Why do they call it that? And she said, it's called Changing Patterns because it's about trying to stop generational poverty, and it's around trying to, if your parents hit you as a kid, what do you want to do different to parent your kid? And it's about opportunities with education and how all of that is tied together in poverty. And so if that's how you've lived, how do you want that to be different for you, and how do you want that to be different for your child, and how do you want that to be different for her children? That was hugely eye-opening.